Well, hey fans, welcome back to another episode of Let's Talk Spoilers, and today we're talking spoilers for The Matrix Resurrections. Now, The Matrix Resurrections is a mistake of a movie. You only got one Wachowski back to direct and write, and it definitely shows in the final product because the film is it's not that good. It's pretty bad, actually. I believe I actually gave it a 4.99 out of 10 on the blog, so check over there and read the review yourself. But yeah, and you get most of the cast back, and the premise of it is great. I like the premise. I just think the execution was poorly handled. So, the overall plot is that after the events of the Matrix Revelations, the machines brokered a peace with the humans, and they resurrected Neo as the one, because there's this one machine or program, whatever, who realized this dude by himself generates a lot of energy, even more so when he's near this Trinity chick. So, like I said, they rebuild Neo's body. They also rebuild Trinity's body, bring them back to life. This is super interesting that they know how to do this. They can literally bring back dead humans, heal their bodies, etc. So, of course, Neo gets his eyes back. They restart his heart, all this jazz. And they keep their pods in a separate, crop thing, where they're both hooked into the Matrix and they're really close together, but they're not, able to touch. And that is what keeps them feeling each other and generating so much energy. Now, overall, this film, there's just so much to talk about, so I'm going to be all over the place. First, you have the fact that, yes, the machines and the humans did reach a peace, but there were some machines who did not want the peace and some machines who did. This led to a civil war between the machines. Now, that right there is an interesting story. That is an interesting movie. I would love to have seen that in a film or a TV show or something. And I still feel that this franchise can be salvaged, and more on that later. But so there was a war. They never state if the war between the machines is still going on or if one side won. But what we do know is that some of the machines now work and live with the humans. Same with some of the programs. They're called synthients, like synthetic sentients. And they use these little bead machines to appear in the real world. And they've helped the humans build a new city called Io. Since Zion was destroyed, they don't really explain how they're able to find this new hole in the ground to build a ginormous new city with a giant fake sky. And this is where you meet Niobe. She's the new leader. The old Morpheus is dead. Yada yada. And I like the aspect of it. I like the aspect of that she's done fighting. She just wants to take care of these people and restart humanity. I like the aspect that the humans and the machines are using the information that they received from the Matrix to regrow all these fruits and vegetables and all these things so that the humans don't have to eat slop anymore. That's great. That's great information. Make that the movie, not Neo wanting to save Trinity again. More on that later. But so in this future timeline, it's 6 years later after the original Matrix. The robots are still using humans for energy. You can see when they pan over the machine city and they have the farms of the humans, there are missing pods. They're not completely full how they were in the previous Matrix films. And that is because after the Matrix Revelations, I don't know how they did it. They don't explain how they did it, but I guess the machines just kind of blanketed a statement to the whole world. I guess they appeared on TV or whatever and say the world you live in is not real. This is actually a simulation. Those who want to leave and go to the real world, now is your chance. Everybody else, we will wipe your memory and it'll be like nothing ever happened. So I'm guessing they gave them a chance to see what the real world actually looks like, and most of the humans were like, "Yeah, we're gonna stay here," and some of them wanted to be free. Like, no, I want to be in the real world. I don't want to live in a simulation. Personally, it's a dumb idea. Until they fix the world, there's no point in leaving the Matrix, honestly. But here's the thing: the reason the machines are using humans for energy is because the humans at the beginning of the world, they blacked out the sky so that the sunlight couldn't come through because most of the machines were solar powered. So they were thinking by blacking out the sky and the solar energy wouldn't come through, the machines will just, die out because they won't have anything to give them energy. But of course the machines were like, nah, screw that. We're just going to turn you humans into batteries. So if the technology has grown so advanced that one, these machines can make a matrix for humans, they can regenerate human bodies after they have been killed. They can't figure out a way to unblack the sky. The main reason for the Matrix is to, one, keep humans subservient to them by making them think everything's all honky-dory, and two, provide them with energy. But if they were to unblacken the sky, let the sun come back through, it would let all the life come back. Like all the plants will start to grow again. I'm sure there are still some small animals still alive. Most of the big animals are probably dead. There's probably still some fish in the sea and whatnot because, they don't really need like that. But just do that and then tell the humans, all right, you're free to go. Attack us again, we'll just put you back in the Matrix. All right, we fixed the whole sun thing. We have our energy. We don't need you. At the same time, machines are not human. They don't need oxygen to survive. Why have they stayed on Earth? What do the machines want? They can just leave. Build a spaceship. Fly to outer space. Like, you know what? We're going to go settle on the moon. We still get solar energy on the moon. And, yeah, we will just live here and leave you guys alone. Or Mars. Or any place that gets good sunlight. Hell, make your own planet. You have all this technological advancement. You should be smart enough to do this. I just don't get it. What else? Like seeing more of the world outside of the Matrix. Back to that. It would have been great. The film really should have been less about what's in the Matrix and more about what's going on outside of the Matrix. In this film, I feel like at the end, Neo and Trinity want to create a Matrix that everybody can enjoy. That shouldn't be the goal. The goal should be to fix the real world so that people can live there and be happy. I'm just saying that would be better. But back to the Matrix stuff. So, in this one, you got Keanu Reeves. He's back as Neo. He's slowly gaining his powers back. When he was trapped in the Matrix, of course, he doesn't really buy it. He knows there's something off about his world. So he's like a suicide survivor because apparently he tried to fly one time by jumping off a building. Of course, he didn't jump off the building. The computer saved him, wiped his mind, made him think he somehow survived that attempt. All the stuff, they made the events of the previous film a video game that he created, and the game was well received. There's a trilogy, and Trinity's this girl named Tiffany that he sometimes sees at a coffee bar, and that's mistake number one. You could put Trinity in the Matrix. You could put her anywhere in the world in the Matrix. Why would you put her somewhere where he could see her and potentially remember her? Why? What's the point of that? They're already close enough in the real world to generate the energy. They don't need to be close enough into the system. Neil Patrick Harris, he plays the analyst. He's basically the new architect. He created this new Matrix. He's the one to have brought us into the future, so to speak, allowed the Matrix to continue past 1999, etc., etc. Now, in this new Matrix, everybody's like attached to their phones and all this stuff is meta commentary on, how people are today. But the Matrix takes place in the year 3000 something. So the machine war didn't happen until around this time, maybe. So why, it's not that he thought of that. He's just looking into past records on human history. Yeah, this is what happened to you guys anyway. We're just going to let that happen again and you guys will be subservient. So that wasn't a new thing, I felt. But Neil Patrick Harris, his performance was great. I do want to see more of his character. I want to know how he got into power. And another thing, he told Neo about remaking his body and how expensive it was, like buying a new house expensive. Do the machines have money? Like, is there some kind of, like, how do they spend things? Or, like, how does that work? Like, they have a monetary system going on? Explain that to me. Like, I just don't get it. Maybe more of this would be explored in future sequels, which they said there won't be, but I severely doubt it. More stuff, the Merovingian, he appears in little more than a cameo. Shouldn't have been there. It made no sense why he was there or why Smith got him. Back to Smith, Jonathan Groff plays Smith because Hugo Weaving wasn't available. I think that's a big mistake. It makes sense for the storyline in that it's an updated version of the Matrix. So yes, you can update Smith, but why not update Neo? Like, if you're going to update Smith, if Jonathan Groff is going to play Smith over Hugo Weaving, why even bring back Keanu Reeves other than fan service? It would have been better to have Keanu Reeves cameo and have like a new person play Neo and like have him turn back into Keanu Reeves at the end or something like that. Also, speaking of Keanu Reeves, in the real world, Neo now ages slower. Niobe's really old. Neo's at most 5 years older. Like, the machines can do that to humans too. Like, seriously, all this stuff and all this technological advancement, and they're still putting humans in the Matrix. I don't get it. But the new character's great. Yahya Abdul-Mateen II, he plays the program, who's a combination of Morpheus and Agent Smith that Neo created inside the Matrix. So he actually built a smaller Matrix in the Matrix to see, basically like that, if the person in this Matrix he created gets out, then he knows he's in the Matrix. And of course, that's what happens. So that was actually pretty interesting because Bugs goes into his Matrix within the Matrix to save him. And of course, then he saves his creator, who is Mr. Anderson, Neo. Jonathan Groff, his version of Smith, when he starts remembering who he is, he calls him Mr. Anderson once. But then after that, he just calls him Tom. Tom. And I was like, why are you calling him Tom? If you're going to do the role. Call him Mr. Anderson. That's what Smith would have done. And so that was silly. The action scenes in the film I thought were subpar. There's not a lot of hand-to-hand combat. Most of the time you have Neo using his force push the whole time to stop bullets and throw rockets everywhere. Trinity, she actually does some hand-to-hand combat, and it looks great. They both look great. In their roles. I just wish the movie was a lot better. Anything else? Another aspect that I really enjoyed about this film, and something I was starting to guess from the trailers, is that the one has always been a package deal. It has always been Neo and Trinity. Neo unlocked his powers because of Trinity. Her loving him is what makes those powers grow. So we got, in the first Matrix, Smith kills Neo. But the only reason he comes back to life is because Trinity talks to him and tells him that the Oracle said, I will fall in love with a dead man. Now get up. He gets up. He unlocks the rest of his powers in the sequels because of his love for Trinity. That was the driving force. And in this one, Trinity gains the powers of the One as well. And toward the end, she unlocks all of them before he can re-unlock what he had before. And I think this is a great addition to the mythos because, as the architect said in the previous films, the One always has a choice to save Trinity or to restart the Matrix and rebuild Zion. But our Neo, Keanu Reeves, is the first one to choose Trinity. So these other ones never got to unlock their full power, and the other love interests, whether they were all named Trinity or whatever, never got to unlock their powers because their version of Neo or whatever always chose to rebuild Zion and reboot the Matrix. So that was just great writing. Like I said, the ideas in this film are great. The execution is just very, very poor. And the meta humor of the film is meta to a fault. It makes fun of itself, and that's the point. And I get that because it makes you think, okay, if we were really in the Matrix, they wouldn't want us to figure out we're really in the Matrix because they let a Matrix movie be made, so we should make fun of it so that people will double down on the fact that, no, there's no way this can be a Matrix. It's good, but they go too far, and the jokes don't really land, and like I said, poor execution. Christina Ricci, another character who just appears for a cameo. They build her as somebody important, and she's there, and then she's gone. Like, what was that about? I do feel that we should get 2 sequels. I do feel like this should be a new trilogy, picking up where this one left off. I think moving forward, what you need is both Wachowskis on board, but as the executive producers, they need to come up with a story. You need to have somebody take their story and write a nice polished script and have a Nung Yu Hot director direct the films, whether it's the same director for both, which is probably best, or 2 directors working together and one does each film, as long as everybody's on board with what the story is and how it will end. I think eventually we will go back to the Matrix, either in a television miniseries, which I think is the route to go. Actually, I think 2 films is the route to go to finish this trilogy, but a television miniseries set within the Matrix world would also be great, since this is, I think, the 7th iteration of the Matrix right now, and the 6th was what the original trilogy was in. There are 5 iterations of the Matrix that you can make TV shows of, and that would be great. There's like the first Matrix, which was Eden, so it'd be great to see what that was like. There's like one iteration of the Matrix that had like a bunch of werewolves and vampires and ghosts and angels and stuff. I think Seraph and the Merovingian were from that Matrix. It'd be nice to see that in a TV show, some kind of anthology like the Animatrix, but on HBO Max. And that is what they should do to get fans interested in this world again, and then come back, do 2 sequels, something like that. Let us see who the other versions of the one was, or were, however you say it. That would be great for me to see, and I think fans would enjoy that as well. But that is it for me, guys. Remember, you can view this spoiler review on YouTube and the blog, flipfrogllc.com/flixfrog. You can find us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and Reddit. And please, pretty please, everybody, hey, come here, listen. Make sure that you subscribe. Yes, subscribe to the YouTube channel, the Facebook page, everything. Make sure you like, comment, and share. The next Let's Talk Spoilers will probably be the Falcon and the Winter Soldier. It was going to be Morpheus, but they pushed that film back, so yeah, we'll see about that. And until next time, I'll be seeing you.